Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cinema Savvy. It is myself, George, bringing you a very special video, a very late video in the day, a video that may or may not have been unplanned. And if you've seen the news in the last half hour or so, you will know that the first teaser trailer has now dropped for Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. I guess we get to officially call that. Of course, it's the first season of the new HBO version of Harry Potter. And you might be wondering, why on earth has a trailer come out this early? What is there to talk about? Well, in fact, HBO Max launches here in the UK tomorrow, and as has been the case with HBO Max launching in other territories, there seem to be news announcements, show announcements, trailers, teasers, discussions, interviews, you name it. And of course, with it launching in the UK, Harry Potter was going to be the big one. And with the show almost completed its first season of filming, people might have been surprised there's a trailer. And I'm going to be doing my best to talk about the trailer. I've got a copy of it on the screen. I'm going to give my thoughts on that, some of the new designs, some of the new performers, actors, roles, castle designs, house emblems I've seen people talking about. It's going to be a really interesting one to talk about. So I do want to encourage people, please do comment your thoughts if you've seen it. And I've also been sent a press release by Warner Brothers, and I have some photos of some characters that were not in the trailer too, which is also quite interesting. So my phone is blowing up a little bit of people messaging me. I'm going to put it on a different way. I don't even know the best way to talk about this. I guess I could say, if you're new to the channel, comment your thoughts. If you've seen, we've been doing a lot of videos on the new Harry Potter series already. There's been fan casting videos, there's been news announcements, there's been soundtrack discussions. So we are building up to the release. And before I even show the trailer on the screen, before I talk about the trailer, I am going to say as well, we now have a confirmation that this is going to launch at Christmas 2026. So in December, we've now got Dune 3, Avengers, Doomsday, Ice Age, Jumanji, Harry Potter. We're kind of going back in time to the early noughties. So it's another busy show to add to the end of year schedules. We'll be covering it weekly with the spoiler discussions. I now need to alter my end of year plans after having already altered them already. I hope that can become clear. But what I'm going to do for the sake of this video, for this discussion, I'm going to bring the trailer up on the screen. I'm going to play it quietly because I don't want to get my channel deleted by Warner Brothers for copyright infringement. That's not my intention. I'm not reacting. I've seen the trailer. I don't do reactions. I don't do the fake faces people put on the thumbnails. Yeah, different conversation. There needs to be conversation. And also the weirdos that stand in front of their TVs. Don't get me started on them either. But yes, I'll go over my thoughts after, and I'll go through some of the main beats. And if you're also curious, last year we did a series on structuring how I would do each season as a book into the show. There's a link in the playlist in the description. There's lots to talk about. I'm going to hit play, and I've got no idea how this is going to go. I've not done a live stream showing a video since Andor, maybe, and I've also not done this for a Harry Potter thing, so I've got no idea what the audience is going to be like. But if I press this button here, it is showing the trailer. So clearly, I'm just going to say I'm going to talk over this the whole time because I'm not trying to do a reaction. I'm not trying to do anything more than that. I'm going to talk about some of the key parts of this. But clearly, we're opening up at the Durslys. And I'm going to say, very much to the common sense perspective, folks, if they're still filming, and if it's TV, which it is, they're filming in episodic order. So, of course, this trailer is going to be heavily from the early parts of the show. But yes, obviously, we've got the new Privet Drive. We've got the voiceover of the new Aunt Petunia. We're going to be seeing, as we expected, Harry before getting the letter. Those early chapters go over the school days and what it was like for him. His hair being cut off, the hair being growing back overnight every time. The key for me is the setting of it being in the 90s as well. And of course, when it's a story that we all know we're familiar with, we kind of know what to expect season by season. But it is interesting.
Your parents were the kindest, bravest people I
not
ever met.
Not the first look at Hagrid, but the first time you get to see Nick Frost playing him. The voice, the accent, the background, and I feel cringy talking about now, but these are all things people saw in the public. These are all things people saw being shot. We've got our first look at the Weasley family, which we know is going to be a huge part of this whole show across 7 seasons. The new Hogsmeade station where Kate and Will visited. The Hogwarts interior, which I'll get to. McGonagall, the Sorting Hat. There's a lot going on here. And I'm going to break it down a little bit more shortly.
see who you are.
Photo yesterday. The Herbology. So we're going to get stuff we didn't see in the first book in this, which we kind of knew about. And more importantly, we're going to get to some of the big teaching roles, building up the relationships between them. Snape, Dumbledore, the Golden Trio.
Are you really Harry
It's going to be
Potter?
massive. And I'll give my thoughts in a couple more seconds. And the new logo, which means I need to update the entirety of the channel's templates and everything else. So let me minimize this for a very brief moment, and let's go back to talking about some of it. So I do think it is a good trailer. I do think the concerns people are going to have. People have had concerns with the casting. Obviously, the fact this is being rebooted. There's going to be very valid criticism, respectively, involved of that with the author too. I'm very much in that camp of I will respect anyone that says they want to boycott the show. I have no problem with that. I have no intention of challenging anybody on that either. I'm just putting that front and center because I need to. But where I also run with this series is that as someone that grew up with those books, I do want to see, quote unquote, a more in-depth, more authentic adaptation. And that's not me criticizing the films. It's the curiosity at seeing this done across a 56 episode TV season versus, 2-hour run times for 8 films where people spoke and moaned about missing so much one after the other. So there's lots to take into account there. And what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to go through and talk about some of the key moments because, again, I don't believe in that nonsense of reactions. That's why I've just talked over the whole trailer because I've had friends' channels be deleted for playing trailers and I've got no interest in having this channel being deleted. Trust me. So let's mute this and let's go back to the beginning. So there's not much to say on getting the new Privet drive. I'm not someone that's doing a frame-by-frame analysis of this. Again, we're going that contextual, it's going to be early 90s UK. I wasn't around. I wasn't born. The Cupboard Under the Stairs, it's not the same set. Again, I've got no comments to make on A Cupboard Under the Stairs. And as I kind of said, with the filming having taken place so heavily, back in the summer last year, the trailer, the footage that's ready, the episode, I'm not saying episodes are ready now, but the logic of an episode being ready is the chance that it's going to be the early stuff because it was filmed chronologically. The stuff that the school, as a fan, you read those early chapters and you get an understanding of who this Harry kid is, that there's something special about him. This first episode's going to be, I think, one of the most interesting because we're going to have a completely different look upon Harry, Aunt Petunia, Uncle Vernon, Dudley, his life. We're going to get to spend time with them to see how awful he truly was treated. That's going to make his announcement or move to Hogwarts even more special for him. Obviously, we saw these in all the set photos at the zoo. We've got the new Dudley. It looks cool. It's what you expect. The haircut scene, I want to say Aunt Petunia looks amazing in this. In terms of like book, the blonde hair, the giraffe neck, making it from page to screen. The show has to really treble down on that. And these little moments are the moments that are going to make that go a long way. That she's saying there's nothing special about it when she full well knows. The letter, we of course know what's going to go on there. HBO bigging itself up. The tube stuff with Harry and Hagrid. Again, we're going for that 90s period setting. So it looks pretty great in terms of costumes, the tube design. It's not the modern tubes, not getting it wrong. Nick Frost as Hagrid is one of the question marks a lot of people have had. I've got no problem seeing Nick Frost as Hagrid. I think Hagrid's one of the 3 toughest roles to recast, and that says quite a lot about a different few of the roles. But I think when you look at what Robbie Coltrane did for that, I'm glad he isn't doing an imitation of him. He seems to be trying to make it his own whilst trying to retain the accent. But again, we saw these set photos of them walking around London, getting ready to go to Diagon Alley to do their shopping. We're going to get Platform 9 3/4 again. Obviously, we're getting Hedwig. We're going to have the obvious stuff we expect. This is a shot I love. We get the introduction to the Weasleys. For those that never read the books, they weren't introduced just at the point of, we run in and he just sits on the carriage. We actually spend a bit of time with Fred and George in the carriageways. We see the relationships building. And one thing for me, I need the show to do is to give much more to the Weasley family, because the films understandably overlooked that with Harry Potter being the lead. But if you're getting these 7 seasons to develop those relationships, the Weasley family is the most important one after Harry. And I'm very excited to see more of this. You can see Ginny in the corner there, but again, I'm not trying to do that OTT Star Wars explanation. Obviously, Hogsmeade, we know is going to build up. We know what the it's going to look like Hagrid leading the first years to the school, knocking on Hogwarts. And this is where it's going to get really interesting. So the new look at Hogwarts. There were rumors circulating that they would be doing a quote inspiration from the, how would you say it? Not just Hogwarts Legacy. I think the showrunner did a speech about like Georgian architecture, that they were going to have a little bit more freedom to have their own influence, that while some things obviously work from book to page in the films, it's not just going to be a carbon copy. And I do like that there seems to be a different style already. We've got a look at McGonagall, who I like in this. It's going to be pretty hard to top who we had before, but best of luck to anybody in some of these iconic roles. A new look at the Sorting Hat, something which we're going to obviously see across a couple of seasons. And it's going to play a pivotal part towards the end. And obviously starting to see the trio come together, who I cannot wait to see clips of. Obviously, again, looking at the calendar of where we are, they've probably filmed a good chunk of it at school, but so much is going to be the early episodes. We've got our first look at the brand new Ollivander, and already there's a complete different design. He just doesn't look a wacky old man. There's a weird style on the glasses, the grey hair, the black. There's the darkness within there, which we know is going to happen as a one maker. And then we're going to get something people have spoke about so much. We're going to get loads of time spent at the classrooms. And as long as they, again, don't look like carbon copies of what we had before, I couldn't tell you what lesson this is without having a microscope and zooming into the whiteboard and trying to piece that together. But the fact that we're going to get to spend time with them in the classrooms more so than what we had before, we're going to see that discussion, what is the wonder? That's clearly the first look at Gryffindor's common room. And again, it actually looks like a common room where children will be expected to sleep and live together for the foreseeable 7 years. The Nimbus 2000, our first look at Malfoy, Crabbe. I know that there's been a series that's been released which I've not seen, but even seeing signs at the Slytherin students, these are kids that are going to be together on set for years. The Nimbus 2000, we're going to see more of this, and the Quidditch, which is probably going to be one of the most anticipated parts of the show. That again, across the 7 seasons, if they put the time into the Quidditch side of things, I'm sold. I think if they get the Quidditch stuff right, it's going to go a huge way. Obviously, I joked yesterday when that photo came out, it looks like they're going north of the wall in Game of Thrones. I love the new broomstick design because it actually looks like a broomstick that you'd sit on and fly on. So there's a lot of intrigue there. The herbology hut looks amazing. And I know there's a few shots that leaked of that recently. We've got a new Mr. Sprout. Again, I don't think they even went to herbology in the first book. So it's going to be interesting to see these other things from later books be brought in as early as the first season. And I hope they do have a lot of the story. And again, building up the trio, the snowball fight. A genuine question I have, does this mean we're going to get Fred and George throwing the snowball at Voldemort on her back of Quirrell's head? Spoiler alert. We'll find out this later on this year, next year. Who knows? Again, more shots, cutting round, building up to the finale, building up that trio of the friendship. And then we've got a look at Snape, which is going to probably, I haven't even dare go on Twitter yet. It's probably going to be everyone's talk of discussion. I like this design. I'm allowed to say that. I like the costume. I like the hair. It's the trickiest role for the show to do. It's going to be the thing they talk about the most. I still maintain that he is far too good looking to be playing Snape. I don't necessarily care for the color of the skin of an actor. I just think it's more of that. He's not the most disgusting, ugliest, slidiest, greasiest person there was. This guy looks cool here. So I apologize, I've forgotten the actor's name. I know he spoke this week about some of the death threats he received, which goes to really show how fucked up so much of the internet is. And we've got to look at Dumbledore, who I cannot wait to see. That's been one of the intrigue. Again, there's been set photos leaking of Dumbledore as well. Again, it's a teaser. It's building up. It's a return to Hogwarts. A brand new logo, as I said. I don't need to do logos on everything. I need to somehow get a copy of this as a PNG. And that's Christmas this year. And I feel like I've been talking too much. So let me get rid of that screen. Let me go back to what I was doing before. So overall, if I make this a bit more obvious, we have a Josh in the comments. Hello, Josh. I liked the trailer. I'm sold on the show, so I don't need to have it do too much or do too little. I'm amazed we're having a trailer in March. Now we know that it's releasing at Christmas. That makes it understandable. It will come out this year. And I guess what I will do is bring a couple of those photos. I just need to port them over. So if anyone is curious, they've released some high-res stills of a couple of characters to go with it. And I've got one look here. Oh, no, the file sizes are too big, apparently. Let me see if I can do a screen share. So I've got a couple of characters I want to talk about. Let me see. I'm doing this live on air, so I've got no. This is why I couldn't even do this recorded. I needed to do this properly. Right. Here's a look at Dumbledore. Looks unbelievable. Again, book to page to screen, whatever you want to call it. Snape. Again, I'm struggling to see it. I'm being really honest. I'm just struggling to see Snape. McGonagall. I'm intrigued. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult for all three of those to follow on the four actors that have been there before. But I'm still sold. I mean, just that's a coat. It's winter. It's outside. I'm not even going to comment too much on that. I don't know what we're going to see from that first season, but I am curious at the least. It's a tough sell. There's 9 months to go, which sounds weird to say out loud. But I'm sold on the show. I'll be watching the show. I thought it was a solid trailer. We didn't get much of the music. That doesn't sound like it. Sounded more like generic trailer music. Now we know that Hans Zimmer is going to be part of this. Hans Zimmer's got a busy 2027 then, because he's got Dune 3 coming out. And I've got to say, the Dune 3 trailer music did a lot more for me than the Harry Potter one did. Again, it's going to be different. I don't know if we're going to get the same theme, a new theme, a take on it, something similar. We know we're getting a different castle. We know we're getting a different logo. There are some things that look the same, like the house logos, as they kind of need to be. But there are these little nuances, these little changes. And the theme is going to be something people discuss if that changes or that doesn't change. But overall, I'm sold. I think it's a good teaser trailer. It's almost a 20-minute video to explain it. I thought that was a good teaser trailer. Do I dare to go on Twitter and see what's been said? I don't know. I really don't know what people can be saying on social media. I kind of do know. I'm scared to know. But I'm sold on this. I'll be watching the show. We'll be doing on here double spoiler discussions. I literally this week mapped out the entire year plans, sent it to Tate, and I think I'm going to have to recalculate that now when it gets to December time. So, yeah, overall thumbs up from me. I guess what follows next, assuming we'll get a trailer on July 31st or September the 1st when it's Harry's birthday or the Back to Hogwarts stuff. That's personally what I think. We'll start to get that stuff coming earlier than we think. This has completely changed. I'm assuming we'll get a poster at some point today. I'd be very shocked if we get nothing. But again, scanning the photos, what's been sent before to us, I'm excited on the show. The trailer's done what I wanted it to do. And that's kind of where I'm going to round out this review. So thank you to anyone who's been watching it live. Thank you to anyone who's been watching it later. You're welcome to leave your comments. I will reply to them. I'm going to be, as I said, curious. I'm more curious what people think of their commenting on the channel. Not that I'm begging for comments, but I just know what social media is like when you search for certain terms. So, yes, let's enjoy that, shall we? And I'll be talking about it with my friends, and I cannot wait for people to see more. So that is me rounding out. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care. I'll see you then.